All right, welcome back to another episode of Mr. King KMK, and these are my Nick thoughts on last night's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, so let's just jump right into it. Last night, Cleveland beat us 110-104. I don't like that loss. I'll be honest with you. I know just the other day, I said the theme of the first half of the season is going to be we're a work in progress, but we have to take advantage of these opportunities when they come. And the way that we played in the first half, showed that we were pretty much in full control of this outcome. And somehow in the second half, we kind of let it get away from us and stopped doing some of the little things that we were doing, to get that lead. I mean, but, big ups too to Cleveland for fighting back in the game and doing what they had to do. Darius Garland, he erupted for 34 points. In the fourth quarter, he just went berserk. And we didn't have an answer for him. And it just seems like I hope that's not a theme that when guys are hot, they can just do what they want to do to us. But that's pretty much what he did in the latter part of the game. He just went nuts. And everything he shot was gold. And then even Donovan Mitchell, who's somebody that we've covered it over the years, even he had a good game, putting up shots and hitting big buckets. And they pretty much was the ones doing the damage. And on the defensive end, their twin towers, Evan Mobley especially, and Jared Allen, the way that they were just altering and blocking shots showed that we need and should hold on to Mitchell Robinson. Because that rim protection, we're going to need that, and we know that Cat, and we'll get to how he's able to pull down rebounds. And, of course, his offense is going to be a juggernaut once it gets going. But that defensive anchor that they displayed last night was the difference. I mean, Garland was the dagger, but their defensive presence protecting the rim, to me, was the big reason why I think we lost last night. And then even on our side of the coin, we had guys that had decent game. I mean, Jalen Brunson had 21 points. Miles Bridges had 19. Josh Hart had 16. Mikal Bridges had 14. I mean, Cat had 13. Cat has got to get more touches. Ain't no doubt about it. Cat's got to get more. 7 shots or something like is not going to do it for us with Karl Anthony Towns. We have to make sure that that ball gets in his hands. He's moving it. He's looking for it. He's making the right play. But we need him. He might have to be a little bit selfish at times just to make sure that we do what we're supposed to be doing on the offensive end. And let's face it, he's here to score points. Julius Randle, we could count on for 15 to 30. And we know that's not going to be a problem with Cat, but we got to make a conservative effort to make sure Cat get his shots. And we lost this game too, especially at the end. We were looking for twos when they were hitting threes. And, I thought that whatever the game plan was, it should have been altered to make sure the right guys, get to put up the threes. And I know Josh Hart was turning down some threes, but even like in our ball movement, we wasn't going to come back like that and beat them. And with the guys that we have on our team that can shoot, like I don't think we should lose any games by 9 points, because that's 3 threes that we should be able to muster up. If somebody's going to beat us, they should beat us 10 points and better. That's just my theory based on the team we have. And I know going forward, when everybody do get rolling, that's probably going to be the case. It's going to be hard for you to beat us because of a couple of threes. So I would have liked to have seen, especially in that last 3 minutes, of us making an effort to get good threes shots. We were driving everything to the hole. We wasn't getting the foul calls on all of them, and we wasn't making the bucket. So I think we should have abandoned ship on that. And I think for some reason Tibbs and the guys probably thought that was going to do it, but if we wasn't getting the stops on the other end. Now, granted, there was a sequence in the last 2 minutes. We did get a couple of stops, but we didn't go down and convert. We went down and got fouled, but that wasn't helping us. Trading 1s and 2s for 3s, that's just not going to get it for any team. But I thought overall, I thought most of the guys did a solid effort. I was kind of like Josh. Josh was hurt, yet he played 38 minutes in this game. Brunson played 38 minutes. I don't know why Josh still plays so much if he was injured. OG played 37 minutes. Mikal Bridges played 40. He had a decent game. Porty gave us 12 minutes. He didn't score any points. They took the one dunk. He had a monster dunk that was taken back, but he played pretty good on the offensive end as far as just moving around and being there. But I thought that his defense, and the same thing with Towns in yesterday's game, somebody's going to have to help them because teams, and particularly last night, but teams are getting too many buckets against our centers, straight up one-on-one buckets. And that shouldn't be. And even I noticed with Towns and with Porty when he came in, they have to learn the defensive nuances of stepping up to the ball as the guys are approaching. Because by the time they get there, the guy's already shooting the floater or already shooting it. And I think that's just a comfortability of, I think Tibbs have to make sure that in the rotation, help the helper. So if I'm going to leave my man, who's known for being high flyers, I got to know that somebody's rotating back to my man. And I would guess that them guys are reluctant to do that, knowing that we're only playing with one big at a time, and we're leaving ourselves vulnerable at the rim. And when you're vulnerable at the rim, that's what's going to happen. So I think when pressures come back, I think we'll see a lot of Towns and pressures, and I think that will alleviate some of that. Because that defensive end that we're not protecting the rim, and we're making some good blocks, we're doing some decent things in that sense, but overall, teams are pretty much just going down the lane on us, and that's got to be corrected. Jericho Sims, he's showing flashes that he's getting better, but we need you now to just step up and be a part of it. Like you have to step up and leave your man, because the most important thing is the ball, and if you got to leave your man to go contest that ball, and then leave that on Tibbs and them to make sure somebody rotate back. Put that on coaches. But we can't let guys just come down the lane and have open shots to the basket. I thought Cameron Payne, I like what he was doing. I like that he has a trigger finger, and I like that he's not afraid, no matter who's on the court, to take the big shot. And most of the time he's going to be dead on. So I don't really have a problem with him, because we need a guy that's going to have that type of energy. And between him and Deuce off the bench, they got a lot to make up for, being that DiVincenzo, even though he started the second half of the season, he was our primary bench scorer last year, and he started because of injury. We saw a clip with Miles McBride telling Porty, take advantage of these minutes. Don't leave these minutes on the floor. I thought that was big time, because he's starting to approach veteran years. And that was a veteran move to tell a young kid. And if we remember with Derrick Rose telling him the same thing, when you get out there, don't leave minutes on the floor. Take advantage of every minute that you get, because even if you think Tibbs is not watching, he's watching. And that's how you're going to get playing time, and that's how you're going to get his trust. So, I would have liked to have gotten that win last night, just because there's no reason at home before this 4-game road trip. You got to take care of business at home. Even though we're gelling, it's not, the house is not on fire, but you still want to see growth and the guys that we did have, Now, overall, for me, their performance, it wasn't a bad performance, but Karl-Anthony Towns, they have to find a way to make sure that he's more involved in the offense as far as shooting. We know he's going to pass it now. He's going to make the move to the open man. It's early in the season, and everybody's going to be on their best behavior, but we need his points. And we also need his threes. He's not taking enough threes. It's got to offset. That's one of his fortes. And I know Tibbs love his big guys head under the rim and around the basket, but you got to make sure Towns, he's probably one of our best three-point shooters too. So you got to make sure that he's getting his threes up, because we're going to need that, And when our bigs do come back, and it's going to be a while before Mitch, if nothing happens, we're going to be a scary team, but we can't let games get away. And I also know that a 4-game road trip, but it's not a West Coast trip, so it's an East Coast road trip. And so they'll bond. You normally bond when you go west, because when you go east, you still can see your people. But they'll bond a little bit on this road trip, and that'll only help. I'm not going to predict how we're going to come back record-wise, but I know as a team we'll come back better, regardless of the wins and losses. only because guys will start learning a little bit more about each other, staying in the hotel, you know, when the wives and people like that aren't around. So I'm not discouraged by any means of the imagination. I just don't want to see games given away. And that one clearly was ours for the taking. So we just have to step up and meet that force, you know, when their top guns, you know, start doing what they got to do, our top guns got to do what they got to do. All right, so like, comment, subscribe. But until next time, peace.